people on Facebook than there were on the planet 200 years ago. Humanity's greatest desire is to belong and connect. And now we see each other. We hear each other.
Grandpa, I love you. I love you.
Why want to take a picture?
We share what we love, and it reminds us what we all have in common.
Dug out alive and well after 7.5 days.
If you believe in yourself, you will know how to ride a bike. Rock and roll.
So now technically your devices are on. Yeah. Oh, it's exciting.
And this connection is changing the way the world works. Governments are trying to keep up.
No, we got this at the free door.
And older generations are concerned.
Many people are very concerned about tomorrow. They could get worse next year.
You'll know that that's the film of Kony 2012. I just wanted to say a couple of things about that film. First, I want to concede that the film has done a reasonably good job of alerting us to some of the terrors and horrors of conflict zones like Uganda, particularly of warlords and warriors like Joseph Kony. That's a good thing. The other good thing is that the film has enabled a rallying, or offered a rallying point for funding for NGOs working, or a particular NGO working in Uganda, providing educational resources, security resources and some level of development resources. But I also want to say a couple of things about the film which are negative. The most spectacular of these, I think, refers to the tone of the film and the ways in which the film simplifies what is a very complex set of processes. In particular, the film reduces the complexities of these post-imperial, post-colonial zones like Africa, or like Uganda in Africa, to a simple space of good and evil, entirely parenthesising the role that the developed world has played in the past in creating the conditions of conflict, its exploitation of resources, its exploitation of people. This film, Kony 2012, completely ignores those facts, and it completely ignores them because it wants to rally support by American people, by developed world people, and ask them to provide a simplistic solution to what is a very, very precarious and complex conflict zone in Africa. In doing so, the film actually also negates some of the issues associated with interventions, and American interventions in these conflict and developing world zones in particular. We could compare Uganda and what's being asked in Uganda to what's taken place in Iraq and Afghanistan. In Iraq, President Saddam Hussein was probably unequal to Joseph Kony, if not worse, because he had more power and resources. Certainly he was a bad person, an extremely bad person, but the American invasion and occupation of Iraq has caused as much pain, if not more pain, for the Iraqi people than the original problem. It could be that as many as 650,000 people have been killed in Iraq, citizens of Iraq, people who are basically non-combatants, and that is a direct result of the intervention of the American-led coalition. The film, Kony 2012, is exhorting the same kind of model, the same level of intervention, the same level of Western and American-led arrogance, to take themselves into a space about which they know very little and impose their will on the situation and the people and culture of Uganda. That's the major problem with this film. It has it's entirely oblivious of its own complicity in the problems of Africa. Entirely oblivious, or seems entirely oblivious, of what America and other first world states have done and imposed and inflicted on this country. All that's well and good. The other things I really dislike about this film are the sentimentalism and the way it reduces, as a rallying point, it reduces these complexities to pure sentimentalism. And yes, we know it's a terrible thing that children are hurt. It's a terrible, terrible thing. There are few things worse in life than the harm of children. But what's equally bad is the exploitation of the filmmaker's own kids and the exploitation of the young Ugandan child soldier Joseph to tell his story and to promote his own interests. The film always looks like something which is promoting the interest of the filmmaker and the perspective of the filmmaker. It doesn't permit any complexity. It doesn't permit any mechanisms by which it recognises its own fallibility. Thanks.